I hated weeding the garden alone, but I'd rather Abba copy his scrolls inside than bear our neighbors' cutting remarks. Why did others ridicule what they couldn't understand? Abba couldn't tolerate wool against his skin, and linen cost too much for him to own more than one robe. Garden work would ruin it, so one day he worked bare-chested and earned the wrath of the village elders. They had treated him with suspicion ever since. Though it happened 3 years ago when I was only 5, I still remembered the shame on Abba's face. We held each other that afternoon and wept, prisoners in our own home. Fury strengthened my grip on a wayward green sprout. Ouch! Dropping the thistle, I sucked on my finger and removed the barb with my teeth. "Are you all right, Meshulameth?" Our neighbor's sing-song voice rubbed at my raw mood. I spit on the ground and returned to my work. Of course I was all right. It was just a thistle. "Haruz works that poor little girl like a mule," the neighbor woman said to her maid. "I don't know why the elders don't take her away from him. She should be with a real family." I pretended not to hear and kept my back bent, head down. Abba and I were a real family. What did she know about our lives? How many 8-year-old girls could write? I could. How many could read the Torah? Perhaps I should write a complaint to the elders about her. I sighed. Abba would never allow it. He would quote King Solomon, "Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up." Abba was too nice. The ground under my feet began to tremble, and I looked at the neighbor woman to see if she noticed. She was too busy talking. By the time she looked to the southeast, I knew it was the pounding of many horses. "Shulle, get in the house," Abba shouted from the threshold of our little house. Tucking my robe into my belt, I ran fast as a deer. Maybe someday Abba and I would follow one of those pretty creatures into the forest. Live alone, away from the wagging tongues of Jotba. He always made me hide when travelers passed by. I once asked why, and he said because I was his only treasure. I dashed through our curtained doorway and closed it behind me. Abba knelt beside it, gathering me in his arms so we could peek outside together as the caravan passed. A line of chariots and horses led a golden coach over the rise, followed by a cloud of dust that made our neighbor woman cough. She was too nosy to go inside and escape. Surprisingly, the first chariot stopped in front of her house, and a little man dismounted and approached her. His driver remained in the chariot while the little man talked with our neighbor. In a moment, both began pointing our direction. "What are they saying, Abba?" He was tugging absently on his beard, so I captured his hand between mine. Fear, surprise, excitement, or joy? It was our game to decide why he tugged at his beard. Abba couldn't always tell me how he felt. He kissed my hands and explained. "That man with the soldiers is my older brother, your Uncle Shebna. I haven't seen him since your Ima and I left Jerusalem many years ago. I don't know why he's come." The little man bowed to our neighbor, and 2 soldiers followed him as he walked toward our house. That's when I noticed his face looked just like Abba's. Smaller, but the same hooked nose and close-set black eyes. Abba nudged me toward the ladder in our one-room home. "Hide in the loft." I hurried and hid under my tattered blanket. It was warmer than the bread oven, but I thought my father was afraid, so I obeyed. I peeked from beneath my blanket to see Abba grab his linen robe from the wall peg. Foregoing his sandals, he stood barefoot beside my ladder, tugging harder at his beard. "Done nothing wrong," he whispered. "Done nothing wrong, done nothing wrong, done nothing wrong." A bony hand drew back our curtain. Uncle Shebna and 2 soldiers stepped across the threshold without an invitation. The little man's lips curved into a smile, but his eyes squinted, studying every object in our home, and then landed on Abba.